morning, gang. David Thinker Farmer here. Today's Mother's Day, 2024, and I didn't do anything last year or any videos for the channel for Mother's Day last year. Previous year I did, and I decided that this year I wanted to go ahead and share some thoughts. Mother's Day is a really special day in the year. Most of you probably know, if you've kept up with the channel, my mother passed a year and a half ago from cancer. It started out as lung cancer, and it became liver, spleen, and there was another type of cancer. It started to spread throughout her body, and it was stage 4 by the time we had discovered it, and that she had it. And so there wasn't really a whole lot that could be done. Anyway, but Mother's Day, it's a really special day. Mothers are, your mother and your father are, other than the person you marry, they're the two most impactful people in your life. They shape the way you think and a lot of the things you believe from a very early age. And the 10 commandments that God gave us in His Bible, the 5th commandment is to honor thy father and mother. And my mother, I believe, was a very special lady, definitely to me, and also to my siblings and my dad. And so this video is really just my way of honoring them. And I would encourage you, no matter how busy your schedule is, no matter what's going on in your life, if your mother's still alive, you make the time to spend, you make sure you spend some time with her. Even if you're 1,000 or 2,000 miles away and you can't be there in person, call her on the phone, write her a note, do something. Do it while you still can. I don't really have any regrets, but I always loved my mother, and like to think I always honored her. And so looking back, there are no regrets, but I know one thing for sure: you can't wish them back. So whether you're an individual there, your mother's gone on or not, now I'd like to share 3 lessons with you that as I reflect back on my mother, these are 3 things that stick out to me. And the first one, probably the biggest thing I'll always remember about my mom, was her capacity to rebound. She would always tell me, "David, it's a new day." And what she meant by that is, whatever has happened, but you have this moment now to change things for good. You've got a new day and a new opportunity to do something with it. She, when I say the capacity to rebound, it bears a little bit of merit. Her home life was not as good as I had it. Mother died early, father was absent from the picture. Her grandparents raised her, and so she had a lot of grief that she had to deal with even as a little girl, not having a father or mother. And she overcame that and became a very driven, very disciplined, very focused individual. Went to a Billy Graham film as a teenager and surrendered her life to Christ, and then ended up going to the mission field, served in, she was an English and a PE teacher to a couple different schools in southern Sudan, back when the African nation of Sudan was split between the Muslim North and the Christian South. And she also was in Amman, Jordan, teaching English there as well. And throughout her life, like anybody's life, she would have defeats and discouraging things happen. And I think it always amazed all of us as her kids, even later in her life, there was a rebound to her life, and there was always a spring in her step and a definitive drive in her life to excel, to overcome. And that shaped her in so many ways, and it has influenced how I view challenges in life today. The second thing that she impressed upon me is the importance of, and I may rub a few shoulders the wrong way, the importance of political activism. She loved the famous quote by the British historian Edmund Burke, in which he said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." And my mom always believed that as Christians, we have a duty and a responsibility and a right to be involved in politics and in the political process, because if we don't, just like the quote says, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I think about that a lot today, with corruption seemingly becoming worse in America today. And there are those individuals that believe what's right, and they become so frustrated with the state of our nation that they finally just throw up their hands and say, well, America's going to hell, and we're not going to do anything about it, even to the point of saying they're not even going to go vote anymore. And I'm not going to turn this into a political speech. Like I said, this is Mother's Day, but my mother was politically active for the last 25 years of her life. The number of political battles I could tell you that she fought were innumerable. Whether it was a social platform or a social issue from adult businesses, or i.e. strip clubs that wanted to be put in next to middle and primary schools, whether it was misappropriation of government funds and political corruption. There were so many battles that she fought, and she would be appalled, and she was still alive, that so many people would say, you know, God blessed us with this rich country of America, but now it's become so corrupt, we're not going to do anything to save it. When in reality, 250 years ago, most of the people that started this country had strong morals and strong Christian beliefs. And for them, they would be appalled at the corruption today, but they would be equally appalled at how Christians and Americans alike have become so complacent and apathetic. And so I'm just going to list this as a side note. I don't care what you believe about the state of our country. If you're not going to get off your dead center this fall and go vote, at a minimum, and go vote, you are only enabling America and the corruption that exists to get worse. But that was the second thing my mom taught me. Like I said, the first thing was she had a tremendous capacity to rebound. She had a drive that moved her through life. A lot of it was just her faith in God. And the second thing was she was involved politically. She cared greatly about our nation, our country, and about the local community. And she was involved as a force for good. And the last thing, this thing may stick with me harder than all of them, was she taught me to give whatever you have. She was a poor girl growing up. She didn't have a lot. Her first dress that came from the store she got as a teenager. Before that, all of her clothes were hand sewn with a sewing machine, I'd imagine. And she, at the end of her life, when she was fighting cancer, and I was at Greg Judy's working at the time, and Greg and Jan very graciously gave me, I want to say it was almost a month of time off, several weeks, vacation time I didn't even have, but my mother was really going downhill. They knew it, I knew it, and so I took the time off. I was home for 2 or so weeks, shortly before she died, and one thing I remember clearly was it wasn't until the last week and a half to 2 weeks of her life that she quit working as a legislative aide to our state representative. Even on her bed, she couldn't really get up to do anything. We had to feed her, we had to help her with everything. She had her phone, and she had 1 or 2 notepads and a couple pens. She was lying on her side on her bed, trying to do her work. I fought with her. I said, Mom, you're about to die of cancer, and you're worried about all this political work. It's time for you to stop. And she said, David, it's not that much. It's all I can do. And in her way, she was simply saying, whatever I've got left to give for people, I want to go ahead and give it. And so I'm going to leave you with that thought, which is all of us have different strengths. All of us have different skills and gifts. But whatever you have, you need to go ahead and give it, and you need to use it. Don't let it go to waste, even if it's the last thing you do. So, I started this video by saying, my mom has passed, but I still believe I can honor my mom whether or not she's alive today, and I believe she's in heaven now rejoicing and hopefully looking down and seeing me make some really good decisions with my life. And I encourage you, whether your mother is alive or not, take some time this Mother's Day, pray and thank God for the mother he gave you, and if she is alive, spend some time with her, reach out, show her you care, show her you love her, and honor the Lord for the mothers that he gave us. And with that, gang, blessings for the journey, and keep it real.